I didn't notice the note at first. I was too busy trying to unlock the front door, with one hand while balancing my suitcase with the other. The flight had been delayed, my phone battery was dead, and all I wanted was to shower and sleep. When the key finally turned, the house felt wrong, immediately too quiet, too cold, like it had been emptied of warmth while I was gone. The note was taped to the kitchen counter, written in my husband's sharp, impatient handwriting. Deal with this senile old woman. That was it. No greeting. No explanation. My stomach tightened. I followed the sound I hadn't noticed before, a faint, uneven breathing coming from the guest room. When I pushed the door open, I found his grandmother lying there, barely conscious, her skin pale and clammy. Oxygen machine humming beside the bed. She had been left alone. No nurse, no instructions. No food on the bedside table. Just abandonment. I dropped my bags and rushed to her side, calling her name softly. Her eyes fluttered open for a second, just long enough to recognize me. Her fingers curled weakly around mine, as if she was afraid I might disappear too. They left? She whispered. I swallowed hard and nodded, anger burning so hot it made my hands shake. My husband had begged me for years to handle her, to move her into a home, to stop letting her interfere. His mother, my mother-in-law, had made it clear. She wanted nothing to do with the responsibility. And now, while I was away, they decided this was easier. I reached for my phone charger, plugged it in, and called an ambulance. While we waited, I cleaned her face, adjusted the blankets and sat with her, listening to her labored breathing. Every minute felt heavier than the last. That's when she spoke again. This time, her grip tightened stronger than I expected. Help me get revenge. I looked down at her, stunned. She wasn't confused. Her eyes were sharp, focused, filled with something I hadn't seen before. Resolve. I leaned closer, thinking I'd misheard. What did you say? They think I'm weak, she whispered. They think I don't know what they've been doing, what they're planning, what they took. My pulse quickened. What do you mean? Her lips curved into the faintest smile. They have no idea who I really am, or what I still control. The ambulance sirens echoed in the distance, growing louder. That night, at the hospital, while doctors rushed around her and nurses asked questions, my phone finally came back to life. Missed calls, messages, voicemails. Not from concern, from irritation. Him. Why is the house empty? Where is she? MIL. This is your responsibility. Don't drag us into it. Him again. If this causes trouble, it's on you. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat beside the hospital bed as his grandmother asked me to open her safe. The documents inside changed everything. Names, accounts, properties, trusts, and one final letter addressed to me. She had planned for this moment, and by the time my husband realized what he'd done, it was already too late. I didn't open the letter right away. The safe documents alone were enough to make my head spin. Property deeds in 3 states, a controlling interest in a private investment fund, shares in companies I'd only ever seen mentioned on business news channels. This wasn't family money. This was power. Quiet, patient power. When I finally unfolded the letter, my hands stopped shaking. If you're reading this, they've shown you who they really are. I waited years for that moment. You were the only one I trusted to see it clearly. She had known about the pressure, the manipulation, the way her son and daughter-in-law treated people as obstacles instead of family. She'd watched them circle her assets like vultures, waiting for weakness. And she'd prepared. The next morning, my husband showed up at the hospital furious, not worried. Why did you call an ambulance? he snapped, pacing the hallway. Do you know how bad this looks? I looked at him and felt nothing. No love, no fear, just clarity. She almost died, I said calmly. She's old, he shot back. That's what happens. You weren't supposed to make it a scene. That was the moment I knew. He would never change. Behind him, his mother stood stiffly, arms crossed, eyes already scanning the hallway like she was calculating exit routes. Neither of them noticed the lawyer approaching until he cleared his throat. Mrs. Carter? He said, turning to me, not them. My husband froze. Who is that? The lawyer adjusted his glasses. I represent Eleanor Carter. As of last night, I also represent you. My husband laughed nervously. This is ridiculous. We're family. The lawyer didn't smile. Then you should be aware that Eleanor Carter has activated the contingency clause in her estate. Silence fell hard. What clause? My mother-in-law asked sharply. The one that transfers full control of her trusts and holdings. The lawyer said evenly. To the individual who acts in her best interest when others fail. My husband's face drained of color. That's not possible. I'm her son. Yes, the lawyer replied, and you left her alone to die. The documents came out next. Photos. Security footage from the house. Timestamps showing how long she'd been unattended. The note deal with this senile old woman photographed and logged. Every move. Every mistake. When the lawyer finished, he looked directly at my husband. As of this morning, you and your mother are legally barred from managing, accessing or influencing any of Eleanor Carter's assets. Any attempt to interfere will be treated as financial abuse. My husband turned to me, panic finally breaking through his anger. You wouldn't do this to me. I met his eyes. You already did it to yourself. 2 weeks later, I moved out. 3 weeks after that, divorce papers were filed by me. 6 months passed. Quiet months. Healing months. Months where Eleanor recovered slowly, stubbornly, insisting on physical therapy even when it hurt. We spent afternoons talking about mistakes, about patience, about how silence can be louder than shouting. Then the calls started. My husband's business collapsed when investors pulled out investors tied to funds he didn't realize were hers. My mother-in-law's lifestyle shrank overnight. The house they'd assumed would be theirs? Sold. They tried apologizing, begging, blaming each other. I didn't answer. On Eleanor's birthday, she handed me one final envelope. I built this to protect myself, she said softly. But you earned it. Inside was the final transfer. Not revenge. Justice. And when my phone buzzed one last time with his name flashing across the screen, I turned it face down. Some doors don't need to be slammed. They just need to be closed permanently.